And here it is. We've started. This is the Changing Faces podcast. Welcome along, everyone. And the history is being made right now. And my goodness, what a journey this has been to get started. For those who don't know, I'm James Chang. I'm founder of Changing Faces, which we originally started with Changing Faces radio show, and then after this we dabbled and dabbled in a few events and things like that. The radio show grew into like this 2-hour first of all self-syndicated show, so we had a bunch of partners on the radio with different radio stations, and then a few months after that, the team grew, we got bigger, we had different residents and guests and so on. Then I pulled out of Changing Faces in terms of the radio production side of things, and for me to just focus on my music. And then after that, the Changing Faces team was it stayed the same, I would say. But what happened after that was our colleague Dave Collins moved in to work on a new type of radio show known as Changing Faces Present Collections. And Dave Collins, there he is, look.
Right. How's things, man? How's things?
That was actually quite perfect because you disappeared and then reappeared, and that's it. We've moved into it very nicely.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, Dave, as I mentioned, obviously, in the period where obviously I was not present within Changing Faces that much, we had Changing Faces, or have Changing Faces Presents Collections, which is a 1-hour radio show that was going around every week. We were syndicated for a little while as well, weren't we? But that we've moved on from that as well.
Yeah. And
so since then, for me, I've just been working on a lot of my music and everything. But obviously, we're on to new pastures, new beginnings. You could say Changing Faces is changing once again, wouldn't you say, Dave?
Perpetual changing. So
we're
always good name for an album, though, isn't it? Perpetual changing.
Yes, we are. The faces of Changing Faces are always changing, which is probably why it's called that, I guess. But essentially, this is also something very new. So obviously, we've been doing Changing Faces radio show to our radio show of just mixing and occasional presenting from all of us as the group. And then essentially, we moved on to collections, just being a bite-sized 1-hour show. And, like the main focus of it has been music. But of course, what are we doing right now? We're doing Changing Faces podcast. So, I mean, what is it going to be about, really? Because like we all like to chat, we all like to present and everything. But essentially, what we were thinking of when it came to this podcast is to encapsulate not just like dance music, DJs and gossip and all that stuff, but it's to encompass like nightlife culture, a real coming together of different things. Because, I mean, as you mentioned as well, Dave, like there is so much that can just come into nightlife culture. Like, I don't know, like there's everything. Like
there's so much. Yeah, definitely.
It's not just music. It's not just DJing. Like, we're talking about technology, technological innovations, festivals, like stage production stuff. We're talking about geography, like locations, like great places to go, travel, fashion. I don't know, like really niche stuff as well. Like there's tons that we could talk about. And you may remember as well, Dave, how many times have we been out in like the chill out area of a club, or like we're on the balcony and we're chatting this random stuff like late at night, and we always say, "Oh, that what, this should be on a podcast, shouldn't it? It really should
be on a podcast." The thing is because like this scene's got so many passionate people in it, and everyone, when you go to a gig or like a festival or something, everyone is there for the music, right? And it sort of shows in the crowd, and so naturally everyone's got an interest in the industry itself as a result. So every time a nightclub opens or shuts down, right, or there's something going on with the DJs, new equipment, technology,
Yeah,
just up and coming
exactly.
festival news, and as you said, countries, Ibiza news, or even other countries like Croatia that are sort of up and coming. I think it all sort of rolls into this giant topic, and you're right. You could spend hours, at the back of a festival chatting about all this stuff all day long. But we thought, why not do it on a podcast? Because it's perfect to get the audience involved. So we'd love to hear what everyone else thinks of our theories and ramblings and stuff. So
Yeah, because actually, do you know something, Dave? And I was like looking at on my phone a while ago, and you know how you just randomly have videos from nights out
yeah,
randomly, and I was like flicking through it, and I was like, "What is this?" And it's me and you in Liverpool, and we're outside Blackstone Street Warehouse. I can't remember what time it's at. It's very late at night, early hours of the morning, and me and you are. I don't know why it's a recording of a video, but you're talking about we're talking to two guys, and like there's a guy next to me, and we're like laughing and joking the fact that I'm recording the video, and you and him are talking about Scouse trance or something like that.
yeah.
Like what was like the most craziest subgenre you've ever heard of, but then again, like that's just another example of just the random conversations that we have, like
Yeah,
when we're
yeah.
out and about.
I'm sure there's lots of people around the world that are like, "What the hell is Scouse trance?" And I'm here to talk about that very topic. So
Yeah, you never know. Someone might like tune in, like, "Oh, finally, someone's talking about it."
yeah, man.
But yeah, like essentially, I think the other key point to bring out to everyone as well is obviously that, based on the conversations that we have just personally amongst all of us as a group, we're all a bit nerdy. Let's just be honest. But like, we also just wanted to do something else that was different to just your average radio show, just simply because, well, I mean, like in it, like as far as radio shows go, you've got your mixes, you've got a bit of presenting, and then that's about it, really, right? And there's not really much else beyond that. Whereas, like, obviously for this, we want it to be, where we're just chatting and we're talking about, and we've got so much stuff to go through in this podcast, and just in this episode alone, we've got lots of stuff to come in later on. We've got our obviously everything's brand new as well. Like this is the first episode, so we've got a section called the news, which is coming very, very soon, where we're going to go through some different topics just from in and around the sort of dance music world, I guess, and we're just having a quick chat about it. And then beyond that, we are going to have our sort of discussion topic where we're going to talk about DJ requests, but it's based off a pretty funny video that we've found online, basically. So we've got quite a lot to go through.
More than enough content for episode 1. So that's what I like to hear.
Honestly, and do you know what as well? I was saying this to Dan, and for those who don't know, DJ Dancing, one of our Changing Faces regulars. I was speaking to him in a pub in Baker Street the other day, and when I was talking to him about it, he immediately just spawned all these different ideas to like chat on the podcast, and I was like, oh my god, like what have I uncovered? And the thing is, obviously, this is the first episode. It's just me and Dave this evening, but DJ Dancing like really, 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 really wanted to be on this first episode along with one of our other Changing Faces team members, Katarina Santana. But that will probably be for another time for sure. But yeah, essentially, the podcast itself, what you're seeing right now, it is not the only thing that's going on. Because me and Dave have been working on something in the background, apart from obviously just having Changing Faces podcast. But there's something else happening and starting next week. Dave Collins.
There is.
Tell him.
We're going to get a radio station launched. Showcasing all the Changing Faces DJs and presenters and other radio shows, right? So we're going to get a radio station streaming probably at the weekends to begin with, and then we'll expand out the schedule. But yeah, It's exciting times. So
Yeah,
we're working on this
that's
over
a round of
Christmas.
applause. Changing Faces radio station. It's officially started.
Been working over Christmas and a little bit after Christmas, but yeah, we'll get it off the ground and it'll be good. It'll be really nice because it'll be great to sort of connect with the audience, right? So that's sort of the main aim of the station, to connect with fans, just like this show, right? Just like this podcast. So
yeah,
that's the idea.
Yeah, this is it, you see, because also the key thing for us is that with the radio station, or even like when we've had the radio show, as you might know as well, Dave, but like we've often have or had residents who come in and do like radio their own mixes, which is fine, and then obviously we've had tons of guests, like in the hundreds of guests in the past.
Loads. Yeah,
and they're all just really great, unique characters, and they all do their own thing. They've all got things going on, and quite a few of them have their own radio shows. So of course, we've also got sort of like friends with Changing Faces who have their own radio shows as well. And so of course, we just want to bring that to people as well, to say, hey, look, we've got a radio station now where we can actually offer slots to do your show, and we can host you as well. So that's sort of like the beauty of it. But I mean, as far as like us to be ready for this, like we've got our website's more or less ready, but we need content, don't we, to finish that website, right?
Yeah, and that'll come with time, I think, right? Yeah, we'll actually get more and more shows on the station and more content. The website will start to begin and flourish. But I mean, as is the way, a website is a place to put stuff, and day one, not a lot of stuff on to put on, right? But it'll quickly get stuff. So I've got a picture of the studio here. If you want me to sort of share it on the stream, I'll send it you in Discord very quickly.
Yeah, send me on Discord, because I'd be interested to see. And this is going to be new as well, because you have sent me this picture. Oh wow! So... Oh my god! That's amazing.
That was taken in December as well, so there's even more stuff in there now. So that's like one half of it. There's like another side of it we're building now. So we've got that's like half the studio.
I'm trying to think now, how on earth am I gonna show people here? Oh, hang on. Yeah, hang on. I can... Hang on. This is all new for me, folks, so just bear with me. Oh, this is... Yeah, okay. Hang on. If I do...
Can you open it in Chrome or something?
Nah, look, I can do it here. Look, don't you worry. There we go. There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
That's actually an old picture as well. But yeah.
Look at that.
One half of it. We've got another half of it. A bunch of we've got a bunch of MIDI controllers and MacBooks and things like that. But that's the first half of it there. So when it's all done, I'll get an updated picture for you. But
yeah, and to be like DJ dancing, for those who don't know, he knows his tech when he sees it. So if I'm looking there, I'm seeing are they new marks? Am I seeing?
Yeah, so these are my old decks, basically, right? So when I first started, started out DJing, much like I think I got into it about 2007, 2008, something like that. It was all getting secondhand gear, right? So at the time, secondhand gear on eBay, Newmark decks were going pretty cheap, and I got a pair of Newmark turntables as my first set of decks, and they've lasted this long, right? I mean, I can't really fault the craftsmanship because they've survived. So we got the new needles installed, and then I've also got a pair of CDXs, which I think are pretty rare. I've not seen these ever again, but the ones on the table, they're actually CD players, but they've built them to basically work exactly like a vinyl turntable. So it's got the same platters, same motors. It's even got a bit of vinyl on it that's actually like genuine vinyl, and it works just like a turntable, but it's actually a CD player. I've never seen anyone try that ever again. It's so strange. So I consider them a bit of an artifact now, to be honest with you. So I don't want to get rid of them. But yeah, we've got 4 decks there. On the other desk, we've got like a Pioneer MIDI controller and things like that. And then we've got a big studio mixer. It's definitely coming along. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, and do you know what? Just quickly on Newmark, I've often thought it's kind of like your entry level set of gear. You know, when you're really trying to start getting into it, or maybe you don't have enough dosh for it, because
Yeah.
For those that do DJing and what have you, my first gear or controller was a Newmark Mix Track Pro 2, and I think it was like
Yeah.
80 quid. And I used it so much that I think the plastic underneath was warped, so like it wasn't ever straight; it was always wonky. So every time I kept pressing things, it kept like sort of doing this as I was like hammering it all the time.
I started on a Newmark Total Control, which was like a little tiny box with MIDI buttons on it. That was like my
Oh,
first deck. So
yeah.
it was actually really
Actually,
good.
wait, hang on. Whilst we're talking about this, I'm gonna have to look this up. So, what was that called? Newmark
It was called a Newmark Total Control.
Total Control.
Yeah, so I got that first, and then I got turntables after it. It was like a Christmas present sort of thing.
Oh wait, I'm sure I've seen this, because we're gonna have to. Hang on. Let me switch from this, because I want to share. Let me share it again, because I want to make sure I've got this right. Is it this?
Yes, that's it.
That's amazing. Look at that bad boy.
It's so rubbish, right? Because like it didn't even have a sound card built into it, so you had to buy a separate sound card to even get sounds out of it as well. So like it was before like MIDI controllers were like standardized, so you had to get. It was really strange time. Like I can do a whole episode on this, but back in the late 2000s, that sort of era, DJing was predominantly done on CDJs at the time, right? Because they'd migrated from the vinyl onto CDJs. But no one was really using like laptops to DJ yet. And so you had this whole sort of phase in the industry for about 5 or 6 years where all these different companies were trying all these different types of computer devices, right? And Newmark was doing budget range stuff. Vestax were sort of legendary in the scene, and they were doing they did a deck called the VCI. I've actually got that in the back. I can bring it out in a bit if you want to show it on camera. And of course, Vestax has gone now. Shame. But yeah, you had this really weird phase where everyone was trying everything they possibly could to try and like penetrate the market. And some of the equipment that came out was so strange. Honestly, like it's so bizarre.
It's one of those things where, like, even that, like, surely if you learn how to play on something like that, you can play on anything, surely.
Yeah, this is it, right? I think in the mixes I pulled off on that, it's incredible, to be fair, considering the actual quality of the hardware. So, like, when I hear people say, oh, no, I need to get the highest end equipment, I'm like, mate, you don't, because I worked on one of those things, and I managed to do mixes. So you don't need the highest end gear to sort of start DJing, right? It definitely helps, though, right? But one of the MIDI controllers I actually fell in love with, I used to have one of these. Do you remember seeing Kink in Unknown Festival?
Oh yeah.
2014. Remember he had that little portable Newmark thing? He had a little portable controller in his hand. Do you remember that?
Yeah. What's that called?
I forget now, but Newmark did it, and it was their attempt at trying to like. They had this whole theory of like DJs don't have to be behind the booth; they can be in the crowd, like partying with everyone else, and they can just DJ like wirelessly. And so they made a whole range of controllers that were designed to be to DJ on the dance floor.
I just want to bring this to your attention. When you type Newmark, I don't know whether this is like the names of their Newmark products, but the second most searched
Newmark Pharmacy. That's what you have to use one of these things.
Newmark Pharmacy. Newmark Sleep Aid. What the hell is that? Oh my god.
Newmark's a weird company. Newmark, I think, does a lot of like cheap gear, but they do some really good gear as well. Like those turntables have lasted since probably about 2005. And that says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've been battered, those turntables I got, the few TTXs, and they still work fine.
Yeah. So, I'll just show mine. So I had the Newmark Mix Track Pro 2. There you go. Look at this bad boy. This was great.
See, this is when they started to like standardize how that looked, and I'm actually going to get it now. But everyone started to copy the VCI 100, so I'm just going to get it. You 2 seconds. I'm just going to grab it. All right.
Yeah, go and grab it because this is we're going down a rabbit hole a little bit about some of the stuff that we used to do, but it is kind of relevant in regards to like where we've come from because like originally for the beginning first 30 minutes of this podcast it was sort of like what we've been up to and how this podcast is going to fall, how it's going to occur, but then also like what we've been up to. This is kind of this is the type of shit that we've been up to, I guess. Like, this is some of the stuff that we were doing. But like some of these are like relics. And if you are getting into DJing, all I'll say is that like trying your luck out on some of these things are like almost crucial because like you have no idea like what the other stuff is like if you don't try something like this, Oh, look at that. Hang on.
Hang on,
let me
turn off
switch
the
let me switch the camera.
Okay.
Oh, look at that bad boy.
So that is that was the DCI 300 the Vestax made. So they brought out a 100, which was like a silver platter version. Yeah. Then they brought this out, and you'll notice it says itch.
Yeah.
And that was Serato's first like MIDI controller software. It's called Serato Itch. So they did Serato Scratch for the turntables, and then they released Serato Itch, and the whole DJ world lit up like it's not real DJing and all this, right? Because all the turntables went nuts. And then now it's called Serato DJ, right? But it's weird because this has got a full license for Serato DJ because it came before Serato DJ even existed. So it's got like the top tier license built into the hardware.
Oh, no way.
But I've got 2 of these because I just love them so much, and the company's gone bust now. We don't make them.
Now, just to play the person of the audience role, right? If you hold it up again, right?
Yeah.
There's absolutely tons of buttons at the top there. Like, what the hell is going on there?
But they all serve a purpose, right? And this is the crazy thing. So they come out of this, and then they've started to copy them. And so, like, all of this is like loop cuts. So you can have 3 sets of looping. You can have an auto loop control bank. You can have like a censor button. So if people swearing, you can sort of bleep it out. Obviously, for mobile DJs and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like it's once you get used to it, it's all sort of there. But it's interesting to see. Even back then, they were trying to experiment with different ideas on how to actually sort of fit all this functionality on a controller.
Yeah.
But also make it usable. Right, because when you're actually DJing, it's really hard to actually figure out what the hell you're going to do. But yeah, I really like this controller. I've got a newer ones now, but it's such a nice little device, honestly.
And the question is, how much did you pay for it at the time?
I think I got this for about £200, something like that.
Now you see, now you're talking. Like 200. Did you say that was a new mark?
No, this is a Vestax VCI.
Oh, Vestax. Sorry, yeah, that
Vestax,
was it, yeah. It's a hell of a lot of a difference compared to like if you're a DJ and you are wanting to get Pioneer, like it's a wee bit, isn't it?
Yeah, well, what's happened now is that like obviously Pioneer become like the standard, right? And so it's the Pioneer way, or I think sometimes you might get some Serato controllers knocking about.
Yeah,
but it's all become quite boring, right? It's sort of, I mean, they're great controllers. I'm never going to knock them, but I really did like the time when all of these companies were biting each other's heels to try and become the next top dog. Like even maybe I haven't got time for this, but remember when Tractor was becoming a thing, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't. And Native Instruments are bringing out great controllers like the S4, which again, beautiful controller. They tried to do away with jog wheels altogether. They went jog wheels, don't need them, and they tried to get their software to auto match everything.
Wow. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they the like the little ones?
Yeah, so they traditionally did these little mini controllers, but they made them to form fit their bigger gear. So
Right.
they'd have like their mixer, which is like their top end product, and they'd make little mini controllers you could slot in to sort of extend the functionality. So you could have like a mixer here, if I'm thinking of remembering the right ones. And then if you had like 6 decks in Tractor, you buy 6 extra little decks to go on the side of the mixer.
Right. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it was like this idea that instead of just having a traditional deck with 2 turntables and a mixer or 2 CDJs and a mixer, you basically build your own setup and you go, right, I'm going to have 3 decks, an
Yeah.
effects module, a chaos pad, and like I don't know, this guy's going to play guitar as well, and like you sort of build your own DJ studio on behind the DJ deck. Tractor was so strange in how it had its sort of thought process going on.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a different episode maybe talking about DJ software. So
Yeah, and actually, just whilst you're on that, keep elaborating to everyone because someone's at my door.
there we go.
Yeah, these
So
things.
yeah, I mean,
Well, keep telling people.
Any DJs out there, that I'd be fascinated to know like what sort of software that you use every day. Because at the moment, I'm using Serato quite a lot. And the latest features in Serato I really like is basically a lot of these new AI features where you can basically like auto detects the bass or the treble on a track, and so it brings EQ into another level. But there's so much like competition at the moment between Serato and Rekordbox, and then you've got all this other DJ software which is still doing good, right? I mean, Virtual DJ has been around for a very long time now. And it's never quite become like the de facto standard, but everyone I talk to knows about it, right? And it definitely does everything in the kitchen sink. I think Virtual DJ is the only software I've ever used where it can do everything pretty like good enough, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm talking like you can plug it into your DMX light show and it can control your lights and everything. It's so crazy. You used to be able to plug in VST plugins into Virtual DJ. It's totally bonkers.
Who does virtual DJ?
It's by a company called Atomics, and they started out by making like EJ. So they used to put like these DJ programs on the front of cereal boxes. It's so weird. Like they started out in these weird humble beginnings, and they just made the software, and it was so strange because you could hook up Virtual DJ into like Ableton, or you could hook it up into like any music production studio of your choice, and then just synchronize it all. It's just like what? Whoa!
Did you get this software in a cereal box?
I got EJ4. I've got a disc somewhere around it, and that was my first music making experience when I was about 9 years old or something. Right. And I loved it. Buying a pack of Golden Grahams to get an ex-DJ mix. You know what I mean? That's sort of how it was. So,
yeah. Have your Golden Grahams, and then you'll be DJing in an hour.
I think it sums up the 90s, doesn't it?
Mate, yeah, that's so funny.
Humble beginnings.
But yeah, do you know what? You raise a good point in regards to like just. I know we're on the topic of just DJ software, but yeah, I agree that like when you would go to some clubs, like maybe 8 or 9 years ago or whatever, there was a few times I would see Tractor stuff there. It wasn't always Pioneer. I'd always see Tractor, or sometimes Newmark.
Pioneer was sort of late to the party on this, so Pioneer got beaten to the punch a little bit. So they were the latecomers to this entire thing. Because I might get this wrong now, I'm going off memory. They bought a company called no, it wasn't Mixmeister. It was something else. I remember using the software before it became Rekordbox.
Oh, really?
They bought DJ software of another company, and then they just basically invested loads of money into it and then turned it into Rekordbox. I totally forget the name of it now, though. Yeah, I'm thinking Mixmeister for some reason, but it's not Mixmeister.
Is it Mixer? MIXR?
No, it was some weird name. I can't remember. I'll remember it for next show because it's like a weird nugget of history that I think Mix Vibes. I'm thinking Mix Vibes for some reason. I'll have to Google it in a minute.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, even if that's not the case, for those that are watching, leave a comment, I guess, to tell us which to tell us what Dave's talking about.
Yeah, well, this is it. Like they basically like got the license from them, and then I don't think it's Mixed Vibes. I just looked it up, but they got the license from them, and then they basically rebranded it Record Box, and then totally like decimated it with like funding and brought it up to a level where it could compete with Tractor and with Serato in particular, which was the real threat. Because while Tractor was always going to have its fans, because Tractor was like for nerds, basically, like that was having a full like recording studio behind a DJ booth.
Yeah.
Where Serato was going after the whole plug and play market, which is the exact same market that Record Box is going after. And even now, Record Box and Serato are neck and neck in a lot of what new sort of features and ideas. So
I'd definitely say that this may be signs of a future discussion to come on the podcast as well. Say if we do get someone in from Serato or from Tractor to come and have a chat with us, because hey, I mean,
I'd love to learn the behind the scenes stuff, man. Because like
yeah.
I think even now Serato, I think Dan told me this recently. They've merged companies now. I think Serato and Record Box have merged or something, or there's some partnership going on between the two.
I'll
have to ask him about that. I remember him telling me about it. But
yeah, that'll be definitely something for the future. We're hitting 31 minutes right now, so it's time for our. We should probably do the sponsored break for the podcast. I'm going to quickly put you out, Dave, so you carry on drinking whatever you're having. Now, obviously, this is like the episode 1 of the podcast, so obviously, I think even you would be impressed if we had a sponsor already, since we've only just started. But no, in this case, just know that there will be a sponsor here. But for now, obviously, there is no sponsor. But it's just something where I can just sort of plug my own music. I guess I'm the sponsor, I guess. But recently, as a Christmas gift, I released my lo-fi edit of No Scrubs by TLC, which got quite a few feedbacks from close family and friends, and I'm thrilled to hear how many people have been enjoying it. And if you're curious, be sure to head on over to either Instagram, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or X to check it out. And if you really like it, well, it's a free download. So what's not to love? It's the deep house. If the deep house selections are more of your thing, I've got more of that deep house music coming in the next few weeks. Actually, I've got my upcoming EP, Tell Me Something, dropping very soon over on Deep Whip Recordings, featuring brilliant remixes from the likes of Pandani and Sarandub. So be on the lookout for that. Don't forget, if you want something mentioning, be it a product, service, release, or whatever, in our sponsored break, be sure to email us at hellochangingfaces@gmail.com. That was our first ad reel. Dave Collins is here. How do you think that went?
Very good. Very good.
That was
I'm going to buy some music right now. I feel.
Yeah, I'm sponsoring I'm sponsoring it. But now we must move on to the first major segment. We are now going to be getting into the news. News is going on. News is happening. Yeah.
Jingle.
Yeah, we don't have a jingle for the news yet, so we'll have to sort of acapella it. Go on, Dave.
I've already done it. It's like
No.
The thing is, like BBC News has like the Big Ben chimes between all the articles. What would ours be? Would it just be like a bunch of like beats or like dubstep sounds between each section?
If anyone's got any ideas, feel free to let us know what type of sounds we should go for.
We should do it.
what type of news we should go for the news? Like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. But it'll be something we can try for.
What's in the news, Chang?
Let us get us started with the first news piece. Let me just share the screen now. So, oh my god, I need to manage my settings. So there we go. There, look. So we've officially found out recently that Carl Cox has been officially announced as the Sunday's resident for Universe, the new club that's going to be opening up, which was previously Privilege. This article here.
So this is a Privilege redo. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, this article by Chris Voncino. It follows the recent announcement that Elro will be conducting their business every Saturday for the upcoming 2025 season. Universe has also been heavily marketing its new brand whilst construction continues, which recently featured a UFO stunt that was done by Jan Pissenum and American actor Will Smith in August 2024, which shows a sneak preview of the ongoing work at the previously known Privilege site. And bear with me, I have the link here. So let me go quickly come out of the thingy, the article, and I will share the video. Wait right there. There it is, folks. I can't put the audio on it because I think there's music in it.
And people seeing stuff.
I mean, there's music in like as like a bed. What do you reckon, Dave? Do you reckon we'll get claimed for it?
No, it's spot on.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Gonna see what this pen is. He said, "Come up to the roof." All right, here's the deal, Jazz. I
There
think
he is.
you're gonna go first.
Look
I'm
at the
nervous
state
to
of the
make me look
club,
like a movie
like
star.
even then.
Think of yourself as my stunt man. Hey, Wiz, what the hell are we doing up here?
Yes.
Wake up to you.
What are you? Men in Black.
So now UFOs are doing marketing.
They come to MIBs.
Oh, wait, no, hang on.
I'm in Ibiza. I saw a UFO.
I was going to say, I was just loving the fact that I heard Men in Black, but then I just realized, oh, God, we're probably going to get claimed for that, aren't we?
Oh, we'll get out in post. It's fine.
We'll get it in post.
We'll get it in post.
That's a famous line, isn't it? We'll get it in post. But yeah, so there you go. As you can see, Will Smith announced recently in that very interesting marketing campaign. But as I said, Dave, look at that. Look at what you're looking at Privilege. Like, I'm
actually amazed it didn't get knocked down. Honestly.
I mean, the thing is, from clips I've seen from like Ibiza Spotlight and I think it's mainly Ibiza Spotlight. They literally like tore most of it down. So like I'm not entirely sure what construction they are currently going through. But enough of that. Well, let's go back to the original story for the news. Excuse me. But yeah, as Chris Voncino mentions, Carl Cox has been officially announced as the Sunday resident in Universe Ibiza. Now, obviously, as we've just said, Universe, the brand new super club coming to Ibiza. It's the so 2025 is the breakout year for Universe and for for these residencies as well. Now, obviously, with like Ibiza residencies, we're talking like these are big heavyweight things, and obviously if you get the right resident or the right resident brand party or whatever, you're going to be all right, aren't you? Because obviously it's a wild
Carl Cox is a great place to start, right? He's a Ibiza legend.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, and as Chris Voncino writes here, as of now, he is only the second reveal for the new club following the Saturday night run by Elro. Whilst Ibiza never lacks in entertainment while in season, the opening of Universe has been highly anticipated by guests and artists for some time now. Dave Collins, I want to come to you actually. What's your thoughts on Universe instead of Privilege?
I'm really glad that it's becoming Privilege is being used as a new venue, basically, right? I think we went there. When did we go to Privilege? What year?
We went there. We've been more than once, so I think we've been in multiple years. So I think we went We went once in 2015, I think it was.
Yeah, but I know when we went to Privilege, we were seeing the late stages of it, right? We were seeing sort of like the last couple of gigs before it basically shut down for good. And and the venue's absolutely ginormous, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so big.
Yeah.
And it is a legend of Ibiza as well, right? And it's just down the road from Amnesia. And when it did basically shut down as Privilege, I remember us saying it's such a shame if that just basically gets knocked down.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's very hard to have an environment where you've got Amnesia with its club. You obviously had Ushuaia at the time with its club
Yeah.
as well, who would take over Privilege, because either be one of those brands or it'll be a brand new brand. But if it's a brand new brand, it's got to have a lot of cash to compete with those other brands, right? It's got to be loaded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I don't know if Universe is, an offshoot of Ushuaia or Amnesia, but from my understanding, it's a brand new independent label or like club, right? It's not related to them,
No,
so
it is.
it's nice. Yeah, it's independent. It's like a new one, right?
No. No, it's part of Jan Pissenem is part of the Ushuaia group.
So Ushuaia got it right. So
Yeah,
this is it. So
Ushuaia have Hayabusa, and then Universe is the next one.
Oh, that explains the other theory then. So, like, the only brand that could take this on is one that's stacked, and obviously Ushuaia is pretty stacked right now. They've taken over space, they've taken over privilege, sort of thing. They've almost got like a semi-monopoly on the Ibiza high-grade nightlife at this point. It's kind of interesting discussion right there. But yeah, that's going to be fascinating to see what they do to the place in that case. Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm so glad it hasn't been destroyed, that place, because it was very nearly getting knocked down scenario for sure.
Well, yeah, and as I was saying earlier, the some of the footage and photos that I saw, they stripped it back basically all the way to its just structural skeleton.
Yeah.
And, I mean, only time will tell, like, what type of work they are putting into it, but we can only expect a big result. But obviously, in regards to the obviously, Carl Cox has been going there for his Sundays, and Elro has been announced there as well. Do you think it's going to be, like, in your opinion, do you think it's more of a gamble for the Ushuaia group to do this, or do you think it's like a no-brainer, it's going to make money C or C? What do you think?
I think the main challenge they're going to have is to get people to go there. I know that sounds really strange, but it's out the way, right? And Ushuaia's brand at the moment is built on obviously Ushuaia itself, and then across the street from Ushuaia, you've got space.
Well, hold it right there. So for Universe, or what was Privilege, describe it to people who have never been. Where is it?
It's in the middle, literally in the middle of the island, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just down the road from Amnesia.
Do you remember the nearest town? What it was called?
Vaguely, I know we stopped off there for a drink and we got lost in the woods on the way to Ushuaia. Yeah, don't even ask. I lost my glasses. It was all a bit messed up.
Yeah. Long story short, we went we went walking randomly in the woods to find Privilege, and we ended up at a church randomly.
Yeah.
We're like, Privilege looks a bit like religious, doesn't it? Like,
I love it.
But no, yeah. So as you described, it's virtually in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
Pretty much. I think you could do some work to put some signs up and stuff to make that known again. But yeah, the big thing is how do you get people from Ibiza town to the place? And I think the way to do that is to have really, really big banging nights. And that's what I'd do, right? Put some headlines on and crank up the volume far higher than you could possibly have in the town, and just basically turn it to a mini festival site.
I mean, you could argue that it could be like that, couldn't it? Because it's so big.
Well, this is it. Like, it's got the capacity for it, and it's going to have that's enough to have the weight pulling, right, to get people to go there. And I think once people start going, word of mouth will spread quite quickly. So yeah.
And as you've said as well, I think if you're going to start off with, they always say, like, start off with a bang. Carl Cox on a Sundays is, like you said, no brainer. Right?
It shows they're serious about it, because Carl Cox, that's staple of the techno scene, right? So, I'd be interested to see what other headliners they put on there, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of headliners, we've got another headliner news story coming to you here as well. Let me just get the share this on here. There we are. Look, this is more to do with Alesso and about his Tomorrowland 2025 absence. So as Yotam Dov has written here, Alesso's Tomorrowland 2025 absence has sparked concerns amongst his fans after disappearing from social media and cancelling multiple shows. Fans are concerned of his health concerns, which has fueled speculation over the past months. It says in around here, I've got it on my other document, but Yassam Dov for We Review writes, quote, I think it's here actually. Yeah, here it is, but I'm reading it here. So Yassam Dov for We Review writes, quote, in December, Alesso withdrew from scheduled performances in Australia and Saudi Arabia, including a highly anticipated back-to-back set with Martin Garrix. He addressed the cancellations in a statement saying, quote, I regret to announce that I must cancel my upcoming shows in Australia and Saudi Arabia due to a recent health issue combined with overexertion. My doctor has advised me to take some time to rest and recover to ensure I can continue creating and performing at my best for all of you. Since then, he has yet to provide any updates on his condition, end quote. So, quite a bit of concern for Alesso here, because obviously it takes a toll. Dave, what's your thoughts on that, in just in regards to the balance of your mental health and work? Because work, isn't it?
He's not the first DJ to sort of go through this, and it's really sad that this is becoming like a standard of the industry, that DJs basically burn themselves out through mental stress. And they get told to stop by doctors before they basically just completely break down. And it's really sad to see. I'd like to see more recognition in the industry to sort of stop burnout and stop people from pushing themselves so hard, especially in the DJs and musicians. It's nice. I think it's good that he's taken a break. Obviously, it's disappointing for fans and stuff. But I am a big believer in. I think a DJ career comes in phases, right? And you can do a big worldwide tour, but you shouldn't overdo it, right? And I think there comes a stage where you always go through the phase of reinventing yourself. So there's been more than a few DJs I know that were huge in like the 2000s, and obviously they've had kids, right? And they can't tour as much as they used to, and they have to basically just look after their focus on their family, look after the children as they're growing up, and they can't maintain that same schedule, right, as they get older. But what they do is they change their methods. So Solar Stone, I think, went through this. I think he was like a huge sort of act earlier on, and now he sort of just does. He still goes out and DJs, but he communicates with his fans mostly on his YouTube streams, and basically does it that way. And it's really nice to see that there are ways of continuing to progress in your career and be a DJ still as life changes. But I think the focus I'm trying to get to is that if your life is being dictated by your work, right? If your work-life balance is 90% work and 10% life, you are going to burn out at some point, and that's basically what's happening to DJs. Although everyone would say the work of a DJ is really fun, it's still really hard work, right? I'm not going to deny it is. It's incredibly hard work. So I definitely got a lot of sympathy, but I think at the same time we need to sort of step back as an industry and sort of recognize that acts will go through life. That they've got their own personal lives and their own sort of troubles they need to sort of deal with. So yeah, really sad to see that, because I mean, mental health in this industry's never been recognized properly until it's far too late. So
and I just think, and the question is how do they get there? Like, how do they get to that? How do they get to that point where this is what they've got to do? You know what I mean? Because surely it's preventable, right?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, like if you get to the point where you can't tour 7 days a week, then just say, I'll just do it on the weekends, right? And it's a really hard thing for DJs to scale back. But I do think it's like important. And I think there's a lot of onus on club brands to basically make sure that doesn't happen. To sort of, they book DJs, but to be conscious of sort of how much, what hours does the DJ have available to actually work? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's a free market at the end of the day, right? So I do appreciate that side of it as well. So it's definitely difficult though.
Yeah, and it's it's an ongoing challenge, I would definitely say, because obviously Alesso is definitely not the only one, but obviously here at Change of Faces, the message is uniform. Obviously, we're hoping that he's able to recover and recover well, so he can definitely continue doing what he's doing. Now, obviously, it's funny to mention actually is that, like, obviously we have we want it to be laughs, goofs, and gaffs and everything on the podcast and stuff to laugh about. But of course, there's serious things that happen as well that that is definitely worth mentioning. So I'm just going to quickly mention this next bit of news as well. And unfortunately, it is sad, to be honest with you. But this is another article that we came across recently via Resonant Advisor. Neve Jobson, Scottish DJ, producer, and audio engineer, dies at age 22. Written by Anissa Ahmed, Hong Kong-born artist and Radio Buena Vida and Return to Mono resident, has recently passed away. Jobson's family confirmed on Wednesday, January 22nd on Instagram. The announcement post states, quote, just down here. There you go, look. It says, quote, it is with most unsurmountable pain that we take this time and space to inform you that our hugely gifted, talented, intuitive, wise, fiercely clever, funny, sparkly, stunningly beautiful legend of a girl, Neve Jobson, died on Friday, 17th of January, 2025 in Hong Kong, a few short miles from where she was born. Today, 22nd, is her 23rd birthday. Please, wherever you are in the world, whatever you are doing, join us in celebrating our much-loved Queen today. We will be in touch in the coming weeks to inform you of further arrangements. Thank you, and much love to you all. Rest in glory, our Queenie. We love you with all our might. Mama, Dad, Finn, and Betsy May. End quote.
Man,
and it's like
that's devastating, isn't it?
It's horrible to hear, isn't it? 22, like it's crazy, isn't it? 22. It's no life, is it? Like in the sense of it's way too soon, way too soon. But it was an article I came across and I thought, bloody hell, it's just worth mentioning because it's it's not great news. It's horrible news, but it's definitely worth mentioning because it's stuff like this is horrible. But much love out to the Jobson family for that as well, because it's it's very tough news.
All the best.
And
all of our wishes.
And I don't think there's not been much else written on the cause, but it's it's sad either way. But we wish them all the best anyway. Let me just quickly show you this one as well. So we've got more, because obviously, good or bad, we are covering fair bits of it here, but we've got this one as well. This time we're going over to New York now. So from Hong Kong to New York, there we are, look. So we've got here Paragon. For those in New York that have enjoyed going there.
Paragon's going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. New York Club Paragon is to close later this year in April. The club has confirmed. This by Hattie Linder, who's written this. Brooklyn-based club has only been open. Has been only. Wait, what have I written here? Has been open only since 2022. However, the club announced on January 22nd that, quote, after almost 3 years of running a venue with some of the world's best people, we simply cannot afford the financial reality of this industry in 2025, end quote.
Yeah.
The club has, however, announced a series of top artists who will be making some appearances in the final days and weeks for the club, such as Soft, Unique, Aurora Halal, Special Request, Cleopatra Jones, and Ellie Escobar. Very famous New York.
I would encourage anyone in the New York area to check out those final gigs, because when a club shuts down, it's something special. Like, it's something different from when a club's normally open. So I'd definitely show you support for like the end of Paragon. It's really interesting this because we sort of had a tidal wave of closures during lockdown, right?
We really did.
So but from that, I mean, at least in the Liverpool area, and I think in the London area as well. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You had a lot of like new clubs starting from like the ashes around about 2021, 2022. And so in Liverpool, at least, you had huge places. Basically, you know, Cream's gone now; it's been knocked down, and other big brands. Remember Chibuku? I don't think they do much anymore. Huge brands in Liverpool that basically stopped doing gigs, and then all of a sudden, new ones started to crop up around about 2022, and I have always been curious how long they can. Can they make a success of the industry, because the economy is trash, right? And it's really hard to get people to part of their money because no one can afford it. So if this is the first of a trend, it's going to be really disappointing. But yeah, like I said, definitely don't miss out on the final days of Paragon for sure.
I mean, it is that as well. And what are your initial thoughts of the fact that the Brooklyn-based club has only been open since 2022? What are your thoughts on that?
It makes sense because lots of places opened around about that time, and tried to make a go of the industry. Right, a gap was cleared, and they basically made a shot. If you look at all the venues that have opened in the past 3 or 4 years, there's a lot. And a lot of them will be sort of smaller places, and inevitably some of them are going to close down, unfortunately. But yeah, it's I've noticed it. Venues opening and closing quite rapidly. Within 12 months, as they basically trying to get a foothold in like this new market. But yeah, it's I think it's a combination of things. I think it's that, and then obviously the music nightlife is constantly under attack from all angles. The economy is constantly, I don't even want to go there at the moment. But if you look at how much that's inflated since 2019, it's astronomical, right? The inflation rates and stuff, especially in the UK. So yeah, people can't afford to go out now. They just can't afford to do it.
It does make you think as well, actually, that I mean, we hear countless times of like how expensive New York is, and it's like I think it is actually the most expensive city in the US, if I'm not mistaken, in current figures. But I mean, I just think what makes me think is obviously I'm aware that the club elsewhere in Brooklyn still goes. That's still going, as far as to my knowledge. There was that other really famous club that was in Brooklyn as well. I think it was called Underground. I'm sure it was called Underground.
Yeah, it's big.
And that closed a few years ago, and a lot of people were devastated by that as well. But of course, like the like you said, the climate to try and get these, not only to get them open, but just to keep them open as well. Like, and my question is, Dave, is like for you is, would you say it's like, is it a mixture of like a multitude of factors, or would you say it's down to like the audience's trend towards clubbing? Like, is clubbing now becoming like an old school sort of tradition? Are people more likely wanting to like stay in and go to house parties instead? Or do you think it's more like it is literally just because Brooklyn is so damn expensive, it's really hard to run, and that, you know what I mean? Like what do you think it is? Do you know what I mean?
I think it's probably based on a per area basis, right? I think it's a multitude of things. I think the expenses is probably the big one. You are right in that there's like trends might change in future, right? I know Dan would have a lot of opinions on this, but back in the 90s and the 80s, I think clubbing was huge. But there's more distractions nowadays for to spend our money on, right? So, people can stay in at the weekend and go, play on Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever, right? That's time they could have spent clubbing, right? And so you've got this sort of scenario where as time goes on, you realize more and more people are doing more and more different things. that
Yeah.
sort of clubbing used to fill a gap for to some degree. It's sort of really sad in a way because clubbing was always a bit of a social network of the area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was sort of the place where people sort of, at least the sort of, dance music night venues, it became like a family in a lot of places, right? And so now, as these places are all shutting down, people are starting to lose touch with each other, and they don't really have that same connection going out, right? And I know we've said this, when we sort of scope out a venue to see what it's like, there's this unspoken sort of respect you can tell if the venue has its regulars that sort of really sort of respect the venue and they really sort of appreciate it, or is it just a place to get drunk? There's definitely like a dynamic there, right? So I think it's a multitude of things, and I think as the years go by, you're going to get more and more closures, but hopefully we're going to get more and more places opening as well, and trying new things and new different ways of basically doing this, which is what I hope to see, right? I don't think you're going to stop closures from happening, but at the very least, I'd like to see new places fill in the gaps that the old places, unfortunately can't maintain.
Yeah, and yeah, you've probably put it in a beautiful way, of basically describing what some dance floor spaces are like. Because I would also go further and say there are some connections you make on a dance floor in a club where you don't make it anywhere else because there's nothing like it, right?
No, and it's like a community basically, right? I think this used to happen a lot more when you had the weekly nightclub, right? Where people turned up as regulars every week, and you start to know people just by proxy or through friends of friends. Now, I think the clubbing scene's changed since then, and now it's more like a monthly event or when a big act comes into town, right? But that's how the clubbing scene's changed over time. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it evolves in the next sort of 10 to 15 years. So yeah.
And I guess obviously I wouldn't say we're huge experts of the New York party nightlife situation, but yeah, I mean, this is just from our sort of what we hear dribs and drabs of just through different artists and DJs and so on. I'm aware there are other things out there, but I just know that, I guess from an outsider looking in, they're the only things I ever hear about. I heard about how Underground used to be one of the top clubs to go to, but people always told me it was always like a sweatbox because it was always packed and it was quite expensive. But then I've also heard, that Elsewhere still happens in Brooklyn, and a lot of people go to that. They still have the festival that everyone goes to. Is it Zoo Festival? I'm sure it's called Zoo Festival or something like that.
Yeah, I wish I knew more.
Those from New York, do let us know, because I can't remember. I'm sure it's called Zoo Festival or something like that. But yeah, do let us know in the comments, because I can't remember right now. But that would conclude the news for this episode. I'll admit, some of that news I did the research on during January whilst I was preparing to actually create this podcast. So I think it's fair enough to say that some of it is slightly old, but it was something we wanted to speak about anyway.
Yeah,
just to cover it, because obviously there were some things there that just were worth mentioning, I guess. But the next bit of our show, we're going to move on to a discussion topic. So if you weren't sick to death of us in this first hour, you've got another massive hour of it now for the remainder of the show. But what this section of the podcast is all about us to talk about a certain topic based on something like a video or like an article or whatever, similar to the news, but it's just basically a bit more spread out, because obviously I anticipated that we basically talk about this all the time, and we can talk about it for absolutely ages. So of course, I just wanted to leave a lot of time for this. But essentially, what this is to do with, I've called this discussion topic the Gene Farris Request.
The Gene Farris Request. Go on, get a can of worms open here.
Yeah, this is the kind of worms. So yeah, so the Gene Farris Request. So what is this about? So basically on 20th of December 2024, footage shows a woman approaching Gene Farris. Mid-set, the woman interrupts him and appears to be requesting a track to be played for someone. Gene Farris rejects her request, dismisses her, and tells her to leave. And I think that's me putting it very nicely. And wouldn't you know it, we have it was shared on Instagram by the Instagram account at I'm Nate Fast, which we've got here, which we'll quickly show you. So so yeah, basically here it is. Look, so you can see there she is. Look, and you can see that you can sense there's a bit of apprehension of her going up. And look, there you go. Look, she's showing the phone, and she's pointing. There you go. Look, so she's pointing to this other person, and he's like, "What are you going on?"
So I've got a question. I've got a question for you, and maybe the audience, right? Have you ever done this to any DJ?
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. This is the question, because I laugh at it now, but yeah, you know what? When I was 18, 19 years old, or like or between 18 and 20, I was this woman. Like I did this. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, and I didn't do it to Gene Farris, so I didn't do it to him, but I did do it to the odd DJ when I was going out and partying up in the northwest of the UK, in places like Chester and Liverpool. And yeah, mixed results.
Did they ever play your request?
Maybe once or twice, but I mean, I think if I think about it back then, I think what I was requesting was the stuff that like I would often hear at that club anyway. So I think it was just the case that I just wanted to hear something that either they've already played or they were already just gonna play anyway. So yeah. I just think it was going to happen eventually anyway. But this was when I was a bit like, everyone goes through that period where, you are finally able to legally drink, and then you go out and party and you're like, woohoo! And you have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what's going on. You have no comprehension of how strong things are. You have no comprehension about mixing your alcohol or anything like that. You are basically a giant health and safety hazard for the club. Because
they try and make money off. Yeah.
Like, oh man, I just remember like I remember having like cider, right, before going out, and then like I'd get into a club, then I'd start drinking VK Alka-Pops, and then like girls would come around with like shots of like Bailey's or Tia Maria, I think, or something like that.
My god.
And like, and then it would be like Aftershock. Do you remember Aftershock? And you'd have that, and you're like, and like you'd want to be sick. But then, like, if you think about it, you've had so much different types of alcohol, but you have no idea. You have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what's going on. But of course, during all of this, you're interacting with people, you're saying hello, and you're being really friendly. And of course, one of those people you want to go and chat to is the DJ, right, Dave?
The DJ, right, man, yeah. It's funny, I think I've told you this loads of times. I used to sort of spin records at sort of like a student club sort of thing. And I had my own ways of sort of getting around this. So admittedly, it was before iPhones were a thing, really. But I used to get people come up to the booth and they'd say, they'd scream very drunkenly for a request, right? And you couldn't hear what they were saying. So I remember I used to buy a notepad and a pencil, and I used to say, write it down on there for me. And they'd spend literally like 30 minutes filling an entire page of requests. And then when they're finally done, you can take it off them and then just screw it up and throw it in the bin. Like, people they just love it. Honestly, once they got passed around the entire club and they filled like 60 pages of requests.
Oh my god.
It's just nuts. But yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to bring a little notebook and used to just say, write it on that. That's how I used to sort of get around it because they spent so long writing down requests. Obviously, it never got played. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to think that I was probably one of those people, to be honest with you. But do you know what? I think when I was 18 or 19, I think I was 18. For those who are local to the Northwest and especially local to Chester, if we're talking about a nightclub, we are of course talking about Rosie's, right? Let's be clear here. It was Rosie's, right? But I'm sure I was one of those people where basically.
What is Rosie's for the people that aren't in the aren't familiar with it?
Do you know what? Yeah, that's a great question because I did that with you before. So it's like privilege, but
It's like privilege. I think they could put that on their headline.
Yeah. God, what is Rosie's? God, that's like a real open-loaded question. So, I mean, Rosie's will mean different things depending on your age. But like, I'm not saying like I'm an old person or anything like that. But you know, for those who don't know, Rosie's was. I say was. I don't actually know if it is, but like, let's just say Rosie's is a popular nightclub in the center of Chester city center, basically.
Sure.
Right, and it was to me what I always understood it as. It was basically the place to go to at the end of. Not the end of the night, but like for the prime time hours, basically. So you would go there between 10, 11 at night, and you would leave between 3 and 5, or 3 and 4, or whatever time they closed. But basically, everyone would always end up there. So I think for those who are tuning in from London, it was like the Piccadilly Institute. It's literally the same thing. So if you remember the Piccadilly Institute, that was what Rosie's was in Chester. And like, if you're tuning in from Manchester, it was basically what Tiger was or is in Manchester, but it's in Chester. And of course, for going out in Chester, obviously the city, for those who don't know, is a very small city. It's more like a town, isn't it? Right?
It's technically a city, but yeah, it's
technically a city. Very old town, like in terms of its size. But in terms of like how many nightclubs there are in Chester, I think it's just Rosie's and there's one more, isn't there? Or two?
Yeah,
two more.
Cruise is the other one.
Oh god, yeah, Cruise is the other one. Yeah, and then what was the other one? Near the train station.
Oh, yeah, that's a new one at the live rooms.
That's it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, like I don't know whether it's still called the live rooms, but I remember it as the live rooms. But anyway. So that's what Rosie's was, and essentially, when I started going out, and like the times where I met Dave there as well, it was basically like the place to go to because Rosie's. This is drunken memory now. I've got to try and remember this. Rosie's was on 3 floors.
Yeah.
There technically wasn't a ground floor because you would go up the stairs to what was called Reflex, but eventually it just ended up being just the first floor. But it used to be Reflex, like the disco thing. That was your floor 1. And then you'd go up the stairs again, and then you would have the main room, which had a very random hot dog stand in the stairwell to go up to the 3rd floor.
Did you ever eat any of those hot dogs?
And it would stink out the entire stairwell of sweaty hot dogs. But anyway, and then there'd be another staircase going up to the 3rd floor. And that was like to me, that was a very dark room with quite a lot of mirrors, if I remember rightly. And it led to the smoking area. And the smoking area was tiny.
The 4th floor. That was the roof terrace. So there's actually 4.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You went up another set of stairs, didn't you? Yeah. So then, okay. Yeah. So basically, it's a big club, multiple floors, and I'm assuming it must still be like this today. Like it's the place.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Standing.
It's still there. So, yeah, that's what Rosie's is.
It's been there for ages. It's gone by different names, but it's been there forever.
It has. Yeah, it really has. And I think everyone's got a story of when they got thrown out there. I know I do.
Yeah.
Have you ever been thrown out there, Dave?
I have.
What for?
I'm not sure why.
You don't even know why.
No, I got thrown out because I had too much. But I remember I was really like courteous to the bouncers. I was like, I don't think I have. I disagree with you.
Yeah, you were trying to be very diplomatic.
Yeah.
I also was thrown out of there. I think at least everyone has from the Northwest at some point in their lives, at least once. Same story for me. I was too drunk. It was on my 18th birthday, but I managed to sneak back in. So
Oh, there you go.
Fair enough to that, wasn't it? So, but yeah, no. So basically, I remember that when I would go to Rosie's, what would often happen is in the second floor, which is where most people would be for the rest of the night, if I'm not mistaken. But where the DJ booth was, you could go around to sort of where he would come in and out. And I am adamant. I remember that they had the same thing that you described before. They had a notepad and a pen, and I remember like I genuinely remember going over there and like writing stuff in there, and I can't remember what I requested. I think it was like David Guetta or something like that. I don't know. I really can't remember, but it like I'm sure it's like a universal thing that everyone just sort of adopts. But like when it comes to like DJ requests, like like how we see here with with Gene Farris. In this moment, I'm not sure who to feel sorry for. I don't know whether to feel sorry for Gene Farris, the fact that he's being bothered, even though he's Gene Farris and he's a very well respected DJ, or do I feel sorry for the woman who's just been pied off immediately? Dave, what are your thoughts on this?
So many things to unpack here, isn't there? So, first of all, how is she able to do that? Right, where's the bouncers? Right, that's my first thought. That aside, it really comes down to the idea that why is she asking him to play something off her phone? And is she pointing in the crowd as if to say it's my friend's birthday or something like that?
I think that's I think that's what it is.
Like if I go and see DJ in a club that I really like, it's like a band. I want to hear them do their thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to backseat control their playlist.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear what they're gonna do. And so I get the feeling she doesn't really understand. She's not there to listen to the DJ. She's just there to party. I doesn't really understand that, and this is the thing I was saying before, you'll get certain venues that have got like a family sort of atmosphere and people will sort of respect the DJ and they're there to see the DJ do his thing, right? But then you got other places where people just get shit-faced. And then they don't care about their DJ. They're just a glorified jukebox to them. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of the latter here going on. But, yeah, I do feel sorry for her. She's obviously a bit embarrassed. But, I mean, she should have sort of realised where she is at the same time.
Well, allow me... Well, do you know what's important to note? Look at the beginning of the video, first few seconds. So, whoever the camera person is, that woman looks back. She looks back at the camera. Whoever's holding the phone at the camera for this video, she looks back to that person or back to us. So I'm sure that person who's recording this is trying to maybe tell her, don't do it. Like don't go and request it. But I can only assume at this point that's what they're trying to warn the woman of doing. Like don't go and ask because you're not going to get it. It's not going to end well. But yet she still is persistent and wants to go and ask him anyway. But obviously, we briefly touched on it before because obviously we both DJ and have DJed in the past, different locations, Ibiza in the UK and everything. But where exactly do you stand when it comes to DJ requests? Like, would you say it's depending on the party location? The type of party, like where is it where do you draw the line of don't talk to me, it's up to me to do, to give me the request and I might play it? Like where does it sit with you in general?
Oh man, like I said, I had methods of getting people out the way, and that was the notepad method. But I will say that if you're there to see the DJ, listen to the DJ. If it's like a student night, you probably could request stuff, right? Because that's sort of what they're doing. They're playing. I think the best way to explain this is using Rosie as an example. Because on that second floor, I remember people were making requests all night to that DJ, and they played quite a lot of them. And to be fair, irrespective of like the type of music being played, they had a whole room of people dancing, right?
Yeah. Do you know what? That's a really
and
good
they were
point.
playing requests, but I do remember quite clearly as the club started to empty in the last half an hour of that night, they started to put on some really good like techno.
Yeah.
And you could tell that the DJs, that's what they like. That's the music they were passionate about. But they couldn't play it normally because they were just getting requests, and that's not the style of the night itself, right? So I do feel like DJs are used as glorified jukeboxes, and I think a lot of it is just reading the room and understanding where you are. But ideally, if the DJ's on the poster as you walk in, then don't put requests in there, right? And that's sort of the idea. This sort of goes into like what Berlin does in a lot of its venues. They'll ask you, who you're here to see tonight.
Yeah.
To sort of make sure that everyone in there has got like this sort of mentality of you're here to see a musical act, right? Just like you're there to see a band. And everyone understands that you don't do stupid stuff like that, right? I mean, you wouldn't like stop a band and say, "Can you play my favorite track, please?" Get off. It's not on our set list, And I think it's just the same with DJ. So basically, if the DJ has a poster and it's got his name on it, don't ask requests. If you just walk into a place and there just happens to be a DJ and it's like you see people going up talking to them and they're playing whatever, go for it if you really want to. But I at the same time, like I said, you might just get a response the DJ tells you to do one, or fill out this notepad document. But I mean personally, I don't really see a massive urge to do it. If you wanna play music that bad, become a DJ yourself, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what the journey we all took. We can do better than that. All right, we'll get some turntables and learn how to do it.
Yeah. And also, I think another interesting point to point out as well is, and I've had this in the past, but it can also be down to what people request, because sometimes it's just completely unreasonable and it just won't work.
Oh yeah,
because
in their mind they'll love it, but they can't read the room like you can because they're not DJs, and that's the problem.
Right.
So
and
they think, oh yeah, this track's amazing because I love it, but then they ask for it at the weirdest time, and you go, no, it just wouldn't work right here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That sort of comes with the skill of reading a room, right, and understanding what the venue will even accept as music. We've all played gigs where there's a list of banned music. Hell, I remember playing a gig where they literally sent me a Spotify playlist half an hour before, and they went, if it's on that playlist, you can play it. If it isn't, you can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 50 tracks on it, sort of thing.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the venue said only play off that Spotify playlist.
Wow, that's
which is crazy when you think about it, right?
Crazy.
It's like, yeah, but that some venues are like that. They just have a very strict music policy.
Yeah, I don't know where I sit with that, because I also have to where I play. I do have a bit of a strict music policy, especially now because they've recently just changed it. But it is sort of the sort of stuff that you always hear anyway, which is they put it down into the category of vocal house has to be recognizable, that type of scenario. But of course, like, it is the type of stuff that everyone's playing. But I think what you've said there is, and actually, by the way, when I play, my name or my face is not on the poster outside, so that all I'm going to say is that I don't.
That does put you in request territory.
No, don't. I don't. I'm not. No.
I will say people can request all they want. Doesn't mean they'll get their way.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. Do you know what? Like, every time I'm usually right. I'm very honest when people come and request things, because the thing is, for whatever reason, I never ever have anything that anyone requests. I think I've had like because like I've been DJing at bars since 2021, so I've been doing it for a few years, like sort of fortnightly, right? Every month, and I swear to God, every time someone's coming to request me something, which is, and in terms of request, I've had like maybe just under 100, or maybe no, probably over 100. I'd say slightly over 100 requests in that time, but every time I never have anything that anyone ever asks for, ever. And actually, I'll even go further by saying that sometimes people request things where it's almost like they don't even know what they're actually requesting. Point in question. This was not too long ago. It was about last year in 2024. I remember someone coming up to me saying, "Can you play some Black Coffee?" And I said, "Okay, which one?" Because I actually did have 2 tracks of Black Coffee, or like 2 remixes of Black Coffee. So to me, that counts because he made it, right?
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, so which ones?" And they said, "I don't know, just anything like Black Coffee."
Well,
And I said, "So are
easy
you
request.
saying?" So are you?
Easy
So, so I said, "So are you saying you want me to play music by Black Coffee or music that sounds like Black Coffee?" And they said,
Oh,
"Well,
that's
either."
too. That's too advanced.
And
Yes.
they just said either one, and I said, "Well, is this like what I'm playing? Does this count?" And they were like, "It's sort of like that, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great."
There's your
Job
request.
done. There you go. There it is.
You
But,
know, it's
like,
one of your quotes always makes me laugh. Is when someone asks, "Can you play this?" and what are your go-tos? I just played it.
oh yeah, no, yeah.
Such a
So
good troll comment. So what do you mean
yeah.
you just played it? I just played it.
Yeah, no, yeah. The one you do is you say, I've already played it 10 minutes ago," and then you
Well, I
can
just played it. Yeah, 10 minutes
and
ago.
then yeah, you and obviously some of them may or may not be intoxicated, but you can then just watch them
Watch
like go.
watch their
deep
little cocks go around to say, "Did he actually play it?"
Yeah, that's literally it. Like you'll literally, like you'll say that to him, and you'll literally and watch them go. Like they're like desperately like trying to think like, did I hear that? Like, am I like, did I? Is that why? Is that why I want to hear
So
it? Because
funny,
I
man.
heard it. Yeah. Hey, sometimes it's true. Like sometimes I've played it 10 minutes ago, but no, I'll be honest. I've had that in the past, but I've also had where people have requested for me to play music by an artist, but they don't say what the track is. So a while ago, when Fred again hit the scene rather massively, especially post the Boiler Room YouTube set, and when he was touring everywhere, I had quite a few people come to me saying, "Can you play Fred again?" And I said, "Which one?" They were like, "I don't know. Can you just play some Fred again?" And I was like, and I was honest. I was like, I've only got I said I've got one. It's quite fast paced, but it's not really for now. I need to play it like maybe later on. So if you stick around, I might play it later. But
So
like, do you
that's
know
an
what?
interesting
Do,
thought.
do you know what? I've just remembered. So this is the other thing, right? And this is probably going to be like DJ's complaining section, but I'm just being honest, right? You may have had this as well, Dave. Someone will request a track, and whether you have it or not is besides the point. But like, if you say, "Oh yeah, I might try and play it later on," they'll disappear after like 10 minutes. They'll just leave.
Yeah.
So they won't even hear it anyway. Like, yeah, honestly. The odd time where I have actually played a song where someone's requested it, there was one time when someone asked for it, and I actually said, "Oh my God, I've actually got this. I'll play it later." And I played it, and they were outside in the smoking area. They missed
The
it,
loyalty on that.
and I was
They
like,
should have
"Oh,
waited.
come
They
on!"
should have waited. They should have
I
been
was
on the
like,
dance floor.
the one time I actually have it. I actually have a track that someone wants. Yeah, honestly.
It's funny you mentioned about the track being too fast, because if you ever pitch the track down to make it fit your current set.
No, okay, yeah. So yeah, I have done that, but like, I personally, for me, there's a certain pitch you can go down to before it starts sounding kind of weird. I would
before
say.
the key lock gives up, right?
Yeah,
Before it's-
exactly. Before the key lock gives up, and then you kind of like, oh, whoa, what the hell am I hearing now?
Yeah.
But no, that's also an interesting one. But what I will say, just for people who do request tracks, you're not all bad, let me say, because there have been one or two where it's actually surprised me that, like, you know, they've requested what they've requested, and like I've been like, oh man, that is actually a great tune. One example,
you know my request. I always ask you to play
what is that usually?
the Fresh Prince.
Oh, Fresh.
Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince.
Yeah, still don't have that. Again, like I'd want to play it at the end, like right at the end when, like, you know, the bar's closing. That's like probably a great thing to play right at the end. But no, do you know what? There was a gentleman that requested. I don't know whether you'll know this, Dave, but it was Passion. This track's called by Gat Decor. It's quite an old school track, but it's like an old school deep house summary track. It's I forget what label it's on, but it's a real beauty of a track, and I really like it. And at the time when I was DJing, I was doing quite a lot of deep house, and it completely threw me off when that person requested. They're like, "Do you have?" And the person actually said, "I don't think you're gonna have this, but I'm gonna try anyway." And I was like, "You never know." And when they said "Passion" by Gat Decor, and I was like, "Oh my god, I actually have that track, and it's great." And I played it, and they loved it, and it was great. And you know, that was sort of like a happy ending to that story. Another one was Inner City, and it's called, oh, what's it called? Not Big Love. What's the other one that they were really famous for? Sweet Life, is it?
I think so.
I forget what it's called now. I'm sure it's Sweet Life. I'm sure. Hang on, I need to check this because I've got it on my I've got it on my iTunes. Good Life. That's it. Good Life.
Oh, yeah, of course, Good Life. Good
Yeah.
Life's a great track, man. Such a great track. That.
Yeah. So yeah, Good Life. That's what it was. So someone requested that. I was like, yeah, that's a great tune. I do have that. But have you ever had that in the past, Dave, where someone's requested something and you've been like, oh my god, I have it, and it's a great tune. I'm playing it.
Yeah, you know, I'm just trying to find. Give me 2 seconds. So I remember playing at a Changing Faces gig actually, and there was a moment where I played a track. I think I'm looking on my playlists, but I don't think I've got it on here. I think it's on my record box.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a track that I played, and then someone said, "Oh, is this the remix of XYZ?" And I was like, "No, it's not. I didn't know they did a remix." And they went, "Yeah, there's a remix of it as well." So, you know, I quickly sort of it was at the time when you could link your DJ software to things like you know, like Tidal and things like that. And so I mixed the original into the remix, and it's actually a really good sort of transition, and it was really went down really well. I'm just trying to find it. Give me 2 minutes, and I'll tell you the name of it. It's just I'm terrible at remembering track names.
No, God, yeah, and honest to God, that's a pet peeve of mine. But I literally do this every time I play. But just watching looking for it. But yeah, one thing I always do is, and I'm sure other DJs do this as well. You've got like a few ideas in your head, like maybe two or three tracks, like sort of in your mental list, and for whatever reason, I can hear what I want to play next, but I forget what the track's called, and then I'm there like, I don't know, like you stood behind the decks and you're sort of doing a bits and bobs with the current track, and you're scrolling through your playlist, and like you're just hoping that you're gonna remember what it's called, and like maybe I look really weird, I don't know, but like I literally start like humming it to myself, or if there's vocals, I'll sing it to myself just to try and like get myself to think of it. And I've even had the security come up to me once I'm going, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to remember this freaking song, like it's just in my head." Like, you know, it happens more often for me than than most, I would say. But like literally every time I'm playing, I will have ideas for what tracks I want to play, and then or the other one is I'll remember the artist or who remixed it, but not the actual track name, which doesn't entirely help me. So I'm there scrolling through it like, oh, I know it's going to be here somewhere, or I remember the BPM, so I scroll through into that BPM section. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's here somewhere. And then again, I'm like scrolling around, like, oh, come on, I'm going to find it soon.
I think it was Belfast by Orbital. I think I played the original, and then someone suggested a remix to me, which was really good.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was. I can't 100% remember, but yeah, I've had it before where it's actually worked out like in quite good benefit, and it was only because I could stream it off Tidal it actually worked. DJ software for the win, bailing me out there.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what? Actually, for future episodes, obviously, if DJ Dancing is present, he is a literal encyclopedia for these types of things. Like, I think the moment we all start struggling with our track names and so on, DJ Dancing to the rescue. I know actually for Dan, he's quite open to DJ requests, and actually a few times when, especially during Christmas time, because I think more people are a bit more like wanting to talk to the DJ and request stuff, and behold, they're Christmas songs. But I've actually had to use Dan as sort of like a wall to be like, talk to him and then he'll talk to me type of thing. But have you had similar experiences with DJ requests hype during Christmas time, Dave?
No, man, I just don't get them at Christmas time. You mean like Christmas songs, or just in general?
Like, yeah. So, like for example, one thing that I always notice is that like come Christmas time when I'm playing, there's a lot more people that go out for Christmas work dues, for example, or just whatever it is, or people are just more like outgoing during Christmas because of these parties.
I see what you mean. I think a lot of this goes to show my sort of mentality of actually playing out in the first place. So I mean, just for context, I don't play out every single week, right? I play out when I want to, essentially, right? So when there's a change of faces gig, I love to hit the decks, or if they're doing my own club night, I'd love to sort of do that, but I don't do it as a career, like you, Chang. And you do it every week, so you probably see a lot of this more than I do, right? I suppose I used to have a lot when I used to do student nights and stuff, but I think I'm in the fortunate position where I can DJ what I want to when I play out, because I'm usually playing to myself, or if I am playing out, it's sort of it's my night, you know what I mean? So that's sort of how it goes down.
It's the total control thing.
All the change of faces night.
Yeah, I mean, all I'll say is, definitely. I would usually say it literally is throughout the majority of all of December, if not late November, is when it really starts kicking off. But I will describe it in the way of, it is always Christmas dues, Christmas parties, and it's people who go out to these places, like all these bars and whatever, where to me, it's almost like they don't know how to behave, and they don't know how to act, and they don't know, like, I don't know, like it's not just about bothering the DJ, but I mean like in just general conduct. So obviously the Christmas jumper is like a massive like indicator. Like obviously, that's not everyone, but like that is usually a hint that maybe they don't go out much. But for example, just in regards to the subject of DJ requests, I remember during December, not December gone, the last one before that. I remember some bloke coming to speak to me for a bit. He was a really nice guy. He'd had a lot to drink though, of course. But I was in the middle of playing, like, obviously we played different variations of house music, whatever. But he literally was like, "Oh, I'd love to hear like some Irish rock from the 1980s if you've got any of that." I was like, "No, mate, I don't have any of that." And I said,
kindly as well. I was like,
and I said, hey, even if I did, can you imagine? I just said to him, can you imagine if I did have that and like I started playing it? Do you think people would go up? Like I said, people would probably go like Irish rock music. It'll probably get people to do like Irish dances and like jump up on the tables and everything. And he was laughing about it really. But Because the thing is, I would also say, in regards to DJ requests, like if, like, I mean, if we go back to, this clip of Gene Farris dismissing this person, obviously this is a bit of a different context because obviously, to my knowledge, it's a party where Gene Farris has been booked. So it's like you said, Dave. He was, he was on the lineup. They're advertising that he's playing there, so let him get on with what he wants to do, right?
There's one thing about that video that has my little spidey sense tingling as to
What's
the
that?
venue. So you see, there's a drink and it's flashing different colors, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Where do you tend to have those sort of things? You don't get a fabric, do you? Right. You don't have it in a nightclub. You have it at like these cheesy student-esque nightclubs. So like, I think he's been booked to play in a place, but he doesn't really like, and the punters don't even know who he is, and that's probably what's happened there. That's my sense. I just feel like maybe, I don't know what venue that is, but maybe it's just a venue where the people just don't treat it like a, they just treat it like a student party pub,
Yeah, do you know what?
I'm just thinking, right, where is that? Because if that was in Rosie's, I can completely understand she did that. She just think, oh, it's just a DJ. Like, she wouldn't know who he is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny you should say that because, like,
I know I'm basing this off a little flashing drink. I'm just saying, every nightclub I've been to that's worth this salt didn't have flashing ice cubes in drinks. I'm just saying, right? So,
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting indicator, isn't it? But also, like, I guess, like you said, in regards to this clip, we're not entirely sure how easy it was for her to come on stage as well. But like, would you say the curtains in the background is a bit of an indicator? Like, look at the curtains in the background; it kind of looks like a theater-esque look to it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
do you think
I don't know about the curtains. Obviously, we started to sort of theorize something here, but yeah, I don't know if I open the can of worms here, right? Is there something going on with like my theory? But yeah, I mean, yeah, you got a point. Maybe he's on the stage, right? Maybe he's doing a kid's christening or something. I don't know. you don't really have no idea, right?
Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine if the camera pans around all these kids here? But do you know what? It's funny you should mention this because obviously I'm just flicking through some of the comments here as well. DJ NYSE, I think I'm saying that. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. He says, "quote We hate requests. If it's not your sweet 16 or wedding, just don't do. Lol."
Yeah, but maybe it is. That's the point I'm trying to make. Maybe it is someone's 16.
But I mean, this yeah.
I mean,
and then he goes on to say, "Lol, if you love the song so much, listen to it in your car before you get to the club." Someone else,
16th, actually, it should be 18th. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Or DJ Drac the One, he says, "quote Definitely asked for Bad Bunny." Patrick Wayne 1200 says, "We're about to leave." Sorry, it's as a quote for her to say, "We're about to leave. Can you play some hip hop?"
We'll probably say, if you play this, everyone will get up and dance. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah. Or here, Zyro.dj says, "If you're going to request a song from a big time DJ, it better damn well be one of their tracks, and better yet, one of their oldies."
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Or Plastic Dreams here comment says, "I always say, if people are requesting stuff and you don't like it, either you are in the wrong place or they are. Someone needs to leave." Yeah. Or DJ Hakuna says, "Even the greats go through it." Yeah. Or good old Dimway here says, "Pure class from Gene Farris. That was Chicago polite." But do you know what? Yeah, it's it strikes as a point to say, do you know what? It happens to it happens to them all. It happens to us all and to them all as well. But yeah, I'd guess when it comes to DJ requests, I think what we said before, Dave, is I think it depends on the environment, like the type of bar or club, right? And I think, like you said, principle is if their name is on the poster or whatever, the chances
Don't
are you
request
shouldn't be
anything.
requesting stuff, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's the logic I use. But then I don't request anyway. I don't see the point half the time. Like if you're gonna spend all night requesting, you may as well DJ yourself,
Yeah.
right? So
Actually, I don't know whether you do this, and I guess this goes out to all who are out DJing. But like, if you go to a bar, or sometimes for here in London or elsewhere in the UK or in other areas, that you can even find you go to like restaurants or sometimes cafes as well, or like or even shops like retail shops. Like sometimes there'll be DJs playing, but I have this habit now where sometimes I just can't help but go and just go to the DJ just to chat to them. Not be like not be like, oh, I DJ like you do too. Like I'm more of a I like to go over and give them a compliment to give them a boost, just because
yeah, that's always
I
appreciated.
know I love it when people compliment me. So I just think if I love getting compliments like that, I'm gonna give it to other people as well. Like I'll go out of my way. Like even if I'm on a date with my girlfriend, I'll still like take time just to quickly get up. Like if I'm going to the toilet or something, just quickly come as I'm coming back, I'll go over to the DJ and say, "Hey, great music tonight, mates. It's really good. Like, keep it
Yeah,
up. Give
I
them
I,
that,
I
that
usually try and make
energy."
an effort to do that at the end of a set. So when the DJ gets off the decks, I'd be like, just shake his hand and say thank you, mate. I'd just say that, and that's all I'd say. And they, it's just a nice thing to do, right? It's that sort of. I think we all
Yeah.
like to be told thank you very much for doing such a great set, but I remember doing that to a few artists over the years, definitely.
Was there any memorable ones where you sort of shook their hands and there was that
Teed
little interaction?
I remember Teed around the boat party. That was pretty good, and I was like, just thank you for that, mate. And I remember the Ben Gold as well. He just did a banging set, and there was literally it was just a conflict of bad lineups. I think downstairs you had like John O'Callaghan or something like that, and then upstairs you had Ben Gold. This is early in his career as well, and he had about 10 people in the room, and downstairs there was like 300.
Wow.
And it's like, obviously he was bummed out that he didn't get many people raving, but the ones that were there really fucking liked it, and I went, thank you, mate, that was great. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, right? Especially if there's not many people in the room. So
what was that? That was a trance party, but what party was it?
that was back Digital Society's when it was its first birthday. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So if I remember rightly, Digital Society was a trance was or is, I don't know if it's still going.
I think it's still going.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So
I think they did a gig last year.
Digital Society is a trans branded organization based in Leeds, isn't it?
Leeds. Yeah, that's right.
And so you went to their first birthday party. Do you remember the year?
I think it was 2009.
Oh man, yeah, that's some time ago.
So,
but you raise a good point in regards to spreading the positivity, because I will also go out and say that if a DJ is trash or they're not very good, then I mean, I guess like obviously you just don't go over and say anything. Do you know what I mean? Like if you just think they're rubbish and they're not doing very well, then you just don't go out and say anything. But like you said, if you don't even have to like all the tracks, but like if you just generally like the sound, and actually this would be like a universal thing to say to everyone, even if you're not a DJ. If you see a DJ like in a cafe, restaurant, bar, or whatever, and you like what you hear, like, or if you think, oh, this is quite nice, go over and tell them. Like, go over and tell them, because
that's really nice.
Their night. It's like basically like getting a tip. It's great.
Or just give them a tip. I don't know.
Or just give it a tip, yeah. Just give them money. But no, yeah. Do you know what? Like it goes a long way, and I often think, and I think actually you've been with me a few times where like I've just decided to go over and speak to the DJ, and then and do you know what? Like, obviously, I'm not going to say everyone wants to be spoken to, but most that I get to speak to, sometimes, they're very open, and they're passionate about what they do, because of course, we're all passionate about doing our DJing, track selection and so on. So it's one of those, isn't it? But as far as DJ requests are concerned, though, obviously it's a whole kettle of, what's the saying? A whole kettle of fish.
Whole kettle of fish.
Yeah, it's
I've got a question. What's your big Here's maybe a question you could throw out there. What's the one request that if you get it, you'll go, oh man, I just got to do it. Like it's almost like it's a valid excuse to play it.
I mean, I'm so when I'm DJing, there are definitely artists that I always swing to all the time. So I don't expect everyone to know these artists, but like if someone was to come up to me and say, "Can you play any Dun Kidder or Dun Cruel?" I'm 100% playing that, because the chances are I've either already played it anyway, some of his music, or I'm going to play it anyway, and I'm a big fan of his music. So if those who don't know him, definitely worth looking him up. He's a fantastic producer. So I definitely say he's definitely one that, like, if someone was to request, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm absolutely on that. If it's not him at the moment, who else am I playing a lot of? I would say I actually play quite a lot of I want to say old school. It's not that old school, but it's like from the 2010s. But any old school Ways and Odyssey tracks from back in the day when they were a duo, I still play quite a lot of their stuff. Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs, aka Teed. I play quite a bit of his music as well. There's quite a few. Like, I know there's just some that I just sort of can't not play it. It's the same
for me.
You?
It's always music that takes me back to a moment, right? So they say that music, some music has memories attached to it, right?
Yeah.
Nostalgic and dance floor memories and that. But if someone says to me, play Inner City Life, I've just got to play it, right? I go, right, okay, yeah, it's good on next, because that track is so special to me. It's so nostalgic, right? And again, Massive Attack is sort of up there as well with a lot of their tracks. So it's very interesting. Like, there's definitely some tracks where I'll just go, yeah, okay, it's just got to go on next, for sure.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously you could say, it depends where you're going to put it in the set, because obviously you've got your sort of ideas of like how you want your music to sound within like 10 hours. But I would definitely say, oh man, I'm just trying to think now. Like I would also
you even go out your way to try and bend your set to accommodate it, sort of thing. I know I've done that before.
You've
got a set and you go, right, okay, I need to get here and I'm there. What tracks do I need to play to transition that gap? Right.
100%. And actually, you've made me think a bit clearer now. So other artists where I often play their music in my sets, when I regularly play, it would definitely be the Martinez brothers. I play a lot of their edits that they have on it's over on their Bandcamp, and actually they are just absolutely amazing, and the music that they make, and the fact that they put it on Bandcamp and it's free, it's just amazing. It's so good. They are just so generous for that. But like, I play a lot of their music and it always goes down well. And another one for me is I don't expect loads of people to know these artists or even remotely, but another one for me is a guy called Pedro, who's signed to this Portuguese label, Enchufada. I think that's how you pronounce it. But Pedro is amazing, like another amazing producer, and it's like I wouldn't say it's very, but like it's like fast-paced Latin style techno sort of sound. And like it's stuff that I love to play right at the end of the night, because it's sort of like, like there's not many people in the bar, who cares, like, and it's just something fun to play. But that's probably another one where I definitely like play towards the end. But yeah, as far as DJ requests, like, you know, they'll never end, and they'll just keep going into the near future. But we'll have to wait and see what the next tracks will be requested. But yeah, that would probably wrap up DJ requests. I mean, I told you, Dave. Like we've nearly done that for an hour.
I know, and it's just one topic. Like I can already think of 4 more off the top of my head. I'm gonna spin off from that. honestly. So,
but this is it. You see, so you know, it was. But this is it. Like, you know, this is why, going back to the original point, why, you know, we thought we've got to start a podcast, because this just we talk like those who know us personally, we talk about this stuff all the time. Like, you know, so it's just an inevitability for us to sort of just record it and speak about it, you know?
Yeah.
But no, yeah, you know, we're more or less like wrapping up our very first podcast episode of the CF podcast. But yeah, just to remind people where they can watch or listen to this podcast, even though that we haven't actually, as of the time of this recording, we haven't actually sorted out releasing this yet. But once it's all, you know, collated together and whatever, we will be putting it on our Changing Faces YouTube, Spotify, the audio version, or wherever you get your podcasts from, and direct over on Changing Faces Radio, our brand new radio station. Is there anywhere else we're going to put the podcast? I think that was it, wasn't it?
Probably iTunes, and probably Mixcloud as well.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was it. Yeah, so the audio version will be available on Mixcloud as well, for all our Mixcloud listeners. And of course,
and again, that's actually a good point. If you guys don't know what Mixcloud is, it's a great site if you want to check out DJ mixes and stuff. So yeah, by all means, check that out. Yeah,
by all means, check Changing Faces out on Mixcloud, because that's where you'll also see all of the radio shows, Changing Faces collections, and all the original Changing Faces radio shows from 1 to 240, basically. But yeah, essentially, if you want to check out our latest updates, we are at Hey Changing Faces on both Instagram and Facebook, and at Changing Faces RS on Twitter/X. I wouldn't mind changing that username soon, because it's Changing Faces RS radio show. So maybe Changing Faces R. I don't know. And then I guess just a quick self-promotion for myself as well. If you want to listen to some of my music and mixes, I am at James Chang Music on Instagram, or at I am James Chang on X, Facebook, and SoundCloud, or find me on Bandcamp by searching for just my name, James Chang.
Yeah. And then
Dave Collins, over to you.
I'm on Twitter, or X now, under DJ Dave Collins. I haven't updated it in a while because I forgot my password. So I'm on there, but it's probably not the best place to get hold of me. So that's that. And then I am on Mixcloud as well, again under DJ Dave Collins. So you can check out all my stuff on there. I'll just go on our website, www.thisischangingfaces.com.
Yeah,
and then we've got most of our stuff on there. So yeah.
Damn it, Dave! You stole my last line.
There we go. You can still say it. You can say it twice.
For everything else, visit. Hey, what was that? Hey, let's do it together. Hey, Dave, what was that site again?
www.thisischangingfaces.com.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, if you want to email us, it's hellochangingfaces.
Oh yeah.
@gmail.com.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, please email us at what am I saying? No, please email us hellochangingfaces@gmail.com, and that's mainly for our sponsored break as well. But of course, if you don't say hello, by all means, say hello at hellochangingfaces@gmail.com.
Say hello to us. Hello.
Yeah, come and say hello to us. Dave, what are your thoughts on the final? Not final. What am I saying? The first episode of the podcast.
It's gone very well, and I hope you've got these topics ready, because it's ready to go through them layer by layer. You're lucky it's just me on today. If it was Dan as well, I think we'd never complete the first topic, man. We'd still be talking about it now.
Yeah, we'd still be on the news. Yeah, we'd have to. I will say, like, let's just see. But Yeah, no, thank you to everyone for tuning in, wherever you've tuned in from, either on podcast platforms or on YouTube or what have you. We'll see you in the next one, and take it easy, everyone. And yeah, let's catch up again next month. Bye for now.
Brilliant.
Say bye, Dave.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.